A question I get sometimes, especially after someone watches my video entitled 20 Facts About the Sabbath Every Christian Must Know is, can I keep the Sabbath and still go to my Sunday keeping church? The best way for me to answer that is to tell you about my experience, because that's what I did at first. Granted, I was in prison at the time because I became a Christian in prison, but they had a big service there in the chapel every Sunday. And I attended because at that time I hadn't been baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I served my prison sentence in Lompoc Federal Correctional Institution in Lompoc, California. And they had one of the biggest and best chapels in the federal prison system, from what I was told. And so I was going there every Sunday while studying with the Seventh-day Adventists as well. At that time, I had no intention of quitting Sunday service, but certain circumstances ended up changing that. For example, when I tried to share some of the things I learned in my Adventist studies with friends in Sunday service, they would criticize me. I remember telling them about how the Sabbath was on Saturday, and they came up with a ton of excuses as to why it didn't matter. None of them biblical. And I tried to explain that the papacy is the Antichrist beast system of Revelation. But most of them were carried away with the belief that the Antichrist was still yet to appear before the tribulation. I remember talking to one guy and explaining to him that the Protestant reformers were unanimous in identifying the papacy as Antichrist. And his response was, yeah, that's because the Catholic Church was persecuting Protestants at that time. And I was thinking, exactly as the Bible says the Antichrist would do. Daniel chapter 7 verse 25 says, "He shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and law. Then the saints shall be given into his hand for a time and times and half a time." And after my Sunday keeping friends found out I was studying with Seventh-day Adventists, they began to constantly hound me. When they would see me on my bunk bed reading Adventist literature, they would stop and tell me that it's full of false doctrines, even though everything I was reading lined up perfectly with the Bible. When they saw me doing laundry in the laundry room, they would debate with me, and it just never ended. It was exhausting sometimes, especially since I was new to the faith, and some of these guys were professional prison yard debaters and had had years to form their arguments. But I'm glad that it happened, because even though I was stumped many times in the beginning, it drew me closer to God. It led me to dig deeper into the Bible, which just confirmed my beliefs. And after all this, I just stopped attending Sunday service in the prison chapel, because the message I got from all of this was, you either join us and agree with our beliefs, or we will constantly criticize you and argue with you. Now, I'm not saying everyone that attended the Sunday service was that way. There were people that respected my beliefs, but some of the prominent members of that church group were just downright annoying because they argued with me a lot. And so I left and got some peace of mind and got baptized as a Seventh-day Adventist. Now, the challenges didn't stop there, but at least I wasn't getting criticized for my beliefs by someone when I went to church. One of the things I liked about the Seventh-day Adventist church group I was fellowshipping with is that they all had similar beliefs. Now, granted, the group was pretty small. I think it averaged around 5 people throughout my stay, but I can't think of any doctrines that we disagreed upon in that group. The same is true of the Adventist church that I go to today. It's pretty united in its beliefs. I didn't find that in the Sunday service I was attending in prison. There were Calvinists, people who believed in free will, people who believed in a pre-trib or post-trib rapture. Many believed in the modern-day gift of tongues. Some thought using instruments during a praise service was unacceptable. Some believed in the Trinity, while others rejected it. Some thought we should still keep the commandments. Others claimed that we were not under the law anymore. There were even known homosexuals on the prison yard who sang and played in the worship band. There was a lot of confusion there with no real defined set of beliefs. Interestingly enough, Babylon in the Bible is synonymous with confusion. Babylon first makes its appearance in the Bible in Genesis chapter 11. There it's called Babel, but later came to be known as Babylon. The word Babel means confusion, and in Bible prophecy, Babylon represents false religion, mainly the Roman Catholic Church, but it also includes all other churches and religions that accept Rome's false doctrines and that will unite with the Roman Catholic Church to promote enforced Sunday worship, which is coming up in the future. The Roman Catholic Church and a lot of other Protestant churches in existence right now are full of confusion as well. If you analyze their doctrines, there are all kinds of contradictions compared to the Bible. Ultimately, I came to the realization that the Sunday service I was attending in federal prison was a part of Babylon, and I left, especially after reading Revelation chapter 18 verses 1 through 4, which states, "And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." I'm not going to go into all the details of Babylon and break down the symbolism in this video because it would take too long, but I won't leave you empty-handed. I'll leave a link in the description box to a sermon entitled Bowing to Babylon, which has more information on that. Anyway, so I came to the realization that the Sunday service I was attending in federal prison was part of the system of Babylon, and God wanted me to get out of there. At the same time, I became aware that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is God's true church for the end time, so I became a Seventh-day Adventist. Therefore, is it possible to keep the Sabbath and continue going to a Sunday-keeping church? I wouldn't recommend it. I think you're going to have some issues, especially if you voice your opinion on Saturday being the Sabbath. Not to mention, God tells us to come out of Babylon, and sooner or later, you're going to have to make a choice on whether or not to keep the Sabbath on Saturday or accept the mark of the beast when Sunday worship becomes mandated by law. And if you make that choice now, it will be a lot easier. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it and share it. Subscribe if you're new, and click on the notifications icon next to the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Also, please pray that my ministry will continue growing and reaching people for Christ. And if you'd like to support my channel and ministry with a donation, links to my PayPal and Patreon accounts are available in the description box. Your donations really help. And check out some more of my videos by clicking on the screen. I have a lot of good Christian videos which I'm sure you'll enjoy if you liked this one. God bless you.